In this video, we continue our series going country by country, looking at awesome watches in different price ranges. And in today's video, we're gonna be going to Japan and starting off with an affordable price tier. So I want to make this a two-part series. This first video that we're going to be doing here today, I'm going to cut off the price point around $300 to $400. I think that gives us plenty of room to work with a lot of different watches when we're speaking of Japan, because there's a lot of great affordable options in this range. This entire list was basically constructed with the help of the Facebook group In-House Movement. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to join that group and really help in putting together videos for the future. So first up, we have a line of watches that I have owned actually a couple times now. Two of them were different versions, but we're going to be looking at the Seiko SNK800 series. These watches have gone up in price quite a bit over the last couple years. So I've owned two of these watches in the past, like I mentioned. First was the SNK809 with the black dial, and then the SNK803 with the cream dial. However, I must say that I think this entire lineup of watches is great if you're looking at the SNK805 or the 807 as well. These watches come in with a price between $60 and $90, case size of 37 millimeters. They're powered by an automatic Seiko 7S26 movement, water resistant up to 30 meters, and have a hardlex crystal. I feel these watches have a rather youthful and playful design, which is perfect since their price falls in a range that I think a lot of people that are setting aside a budget for their first watch would be able to stomach. Now for our next watch, it's a watch that I have right here. The watch that I purchased when I went on my tour going through different retail locations. If you've not seen that video, definitely hit the link down below. I'm gonna be giving away this watch. This is the Casio Duro. So if you do wanna have a chance to win this watch, fill out the watch giveaway form. It's in the description, and then also follow me on Instagram. Those are the only two set of criteria that you need to complete to win this watch. So this watch comes with a price of $40 to $55, case size of 44 millimeters, powered by a quartz movement, water resistance of 200 meters, and has a mineral crystal. This watch wears pretty well on the wrist, especially for a watch that comes in with a 44 millimeter case. And I think it has some of the best specs that you can find for a diver under $50. So when constructing this list, I didn't really want to necessarily go down the digital route because I know that would just turn this video in a whole different direction. That said, I did want to include at least one digital watch, as Casio G-Shock is one of the first watches that comes to mind when you're thinking of Japanese watches at an affordable price tier. And instead of picking a standard type of Casio, I wanted to pick one that just recently caught my eye, was the DW5600BBMA version. So this watch comes with a $100 price point. We have the dimensions of 48.9 millimeters by 42.8, and then the thickness of 13.4 millimeters. Powered by a quartz movement and is water resistant up to 200 meters. So for our next watch, I've seen this watch go up in price quite a bit over the last few years, and I think that can be contributed to one article. That article is by Hodinkee when they titled it a $75 watch that looks like $1 million. From there, the hype took over, and now that $75 watch is now always going to be found well over $100, but still a great watch for the money. And the watch is the Seiko SNKL23. So it comes in with a price of $130, case size of 38 millimeters, powered by an automatic Seiko 7S26 movement, water resistant up to 30 meters, and has a hardlex crystal. And I think staying true to what Hodinkee said in their article, this watch does look way more expensive than what the price tag would indicate, even now at the current price, with its beautiful hands and tuxedo dial, and a great option if you're looking for a dress watch under $130. Now for our next two watches here, I wanted to pair them together, and that is the Orient Mako II and the Orient Ray II. I think it's a matter of preference on which one of these watches you prefer. There's some aspects of the Ray that I like, there's some aspects of the Mako that I like. I like the indices on the Ray a little bit more than the Mako, but I love the hands on the Mako way more than that of the Ray. I did a whole review on the Orient Mako II. If you've not seen that video, I will also link to that in the description below. But these watches come in with a price of $110 to $150. Case size here is 41.5 millimeters, powered by an automatic Orient F6922 movement, and then are water resistant up to 200 meters and have a mineral crystal. These watches are very accommodating for a lot of different wrists out there, but say if you have wrists well over maybe 7.5 inches, look at the Orient Mako II XL. That can be a good option if you want something that has a little bit more presence on the wrist. So guys, what do you think of the choices so far? If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Great indicator for me on what you guys want to see more of, or maybe you don't want to see more of. Also, subscribe and hit that bell icon if you're new here. Now for our next watch, we have a very unique offering for the price point. I think it's a watch that is probably one of the most popular in the range and was voted very highly in the group, and that is the Citizen Nighthawk. This watch comes with a price of $150 to $200, case size of 42 millimeters, powered by an EcoDrive B877, water resistance of 200 meters, and has a mineral crystal. So this is a watch that has great value for money with its dual time tracking abilities and highly functional solar movement. It is of course a pilot's watch, so it will have an aesthetic that will cater to a certain type of buyer, but a great option for those that are interested in one. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about solar watches and the different options that you have, I've done a whole video about them, affordable solar watches. I'll also link to that in the description. Over the last few years, we've seen a lot of love for the Seiko SARB line, primarily the SARB 033 and 035. I'm calling those two watches out primarily here. I think they get the most amount of love. However, with them being discontinued and their prices rising, I wanted to offer up an alternative to those watches that I think have very similar aesthetic, have some relatively similar specs, and are watches that I don't think get as much appreciation. And those watches are the Seiko SRY055 and 57. These watches come with a price of $280 to $350. That's typically where I see them fluctuating. Case size of 41 millimeters, which I think lends to an interesting point about these watches. They're going to wear a lot larger on the wrist than their 38 millimeter counterparts from the SARB line. Movement here is an automatic Seiko 4R36, so not quite the level of caliber that you're getting with the SARBs, but still a very reliable movement. Water resistance 100 meters, and also comes with a sapphire crystal. So the 055 comes in with a white dial, and the 057 comes with a black dial. I know for people with larger wrists out there, this could be a great option. So where we made the cutoff here in price, I think gets us right into the territory where we start getting this brand into the play of things, and that is Orient Star. And the Orient Star we want to look at was the Orient Star Classic. So this watch comes with a price of $300 to $340. Case size 38.5 millimeters, powered by an automatic Orient 40N52, water resistance of 50 meters, and has a mineral crystal. The Orient Star line is the line of watches I wanted to be able to mention on the list, and this was the one that really fell in this range and is personally one of my favorites. I'd love to be able to do a hands-on review of this watch in the upcoming months, so if you guys would want to see that, hey, let me know. Leave a comment down below. Maybe give this video a thumbs up as well. Now we're gonna go back to Citizen again, and I think I wanted to address this because I get this question a lot, like why don't I mention Citizen more? And there really is no reason behind it. Citizen is a brand that I think does deserve a good amount of appreciation. I'm not as much a solar watch guy, so I think I don't gravitate towards them as much, but I will say they do make some great watches, and I think we have another one here, and that is the Citizen BN019155L. This watch comes with a price range of $200 to $390, case size of 45 millimeters, powered by an EcoDrive E16 movement, water resistant of 200 meters, and has a mineral crystal. This watch is ISO compliant, and I really love the look of this diver with its blue dial, really cool accent colors of orange. I think it really lends to a really awesome, unique looking piece that you can find for a pretty reasonable price. So our next two watches here are divers. They were some of the most requested in the group, and I wanted to pick one from each line. First will be from the Seiko Turtle line. And I've always liked the look of Seiko Turtles, primarily ones with a little splash of color, but the problem with them is they've always worn pretty large on the wrist, and for myself who has a small wrist, it's always been difficult. So instead of highlighting maybe the main line of turtles, I wanted to offer up maybe a little bit more of a different offering from the actual brand, and that is the Seiko Mini Turtle SRPC93J1. So this watch comes with a price of $320 to $360. Case size here is 42.3 millimeters, and because just the case design of these turtle models, you have a very interesting lug to lug height of 42.5 millimeters. So this is gonna wear pretty small on the wrist given the case size. Movement is an automatic Seiko 4R35 movement, water resistance 200 meters, and has a hardlex crystal. And I do think these are incredibly interesting buys. And now for the second diver here that I mentioned, we have Seiko Samurai. And for the watch from the Seiko Samurai line that I wanted to address, I wanted to pick this SRPC93. It's a watch that I've had now personal experience with a little bit more now that I purchased one on my trip to different retail locations. I'm gonna be giving away this one as well. So again, fill out the watch giveaway form, follow me on Instagram if you wanna win that. This watch comes at a $300 to around $400 price point. Case size is 44 millimeters, powered by an automatic Seiko 4R35, has a water resistance of 200 meters, and has a hardlex crystal. These watches are ISO certified, and I think the really cool thing and why I wanted to choose this watch, it is their Save the Ocean model, which really comes with that beautiful blue wave-like gradient dial that really stood out when I was looking at different watches in the display cases on my day of shopping, and I think these are just a really good looking watch for the money. Okay, so now we have our final two watches on the list, and these were voted for way more than any other watches on the list in the Facebook group. And I'll share my thoughts on this, whether I think that's warranted or not warranted, but let's look at the ones that got the top choices. And the first one is the Orient Bambino line. These watches, of course, have gained a lot of love as of late as being arguably some of the best mechanical dress watches around. Of course, not perfect, but they are great watches, and I've owned a couple in the past. These watches come with a price of $100 to $160 on average. Case size is 40.5 millimeters, powered by an Orient automatic caliber, depending on the version you go for. So just be aware of what model you're going for. There's a lot of different versions, variants, and generations that you need to take take a look at. So just be aware of that. Water resistance, 30 meters, and then has a mineral crystal. So these watches are beloved by many and was actually the first mechanical watch that I purchased. I had the Generation 2 version 2 with the Roman numerals on the dial. However, I think you have several different options to choose from. And that's, I think, why the Bambino gets so much love. You can go with the newest version, their Generation 5 with Arabic numerals, the small seconds, which does look way more expensive than what the price tag would indicate, or their more minimalist Generation 2 version 3 line. And I think that all lends into why the Bambino is so loved. There's so many different things that you can choose from. The price points are very fair. You're getting a reliable Orient movement. Of course, they're not perfect. I think some people will argue the size is a little bit too big, like myself. However, they are really great watches for the money, and I don't think that could be disputed. All right, guys, now for the last watch is a watch that was voted so much more than any other watch in the poll. It pretty much had more votes than all other watches combined in the poll, and that is the Seiko SKX line. These watches come with a price point of $200 to $350. Yes, $350 I'm seeing some of these go for now. Powered by an automatic Seiko 7S26 movement, water resistance of 200 meters, and has a hardlex crystal. So you have a good amount of options here. The SKX013, that smaller variant of that 37 millimeter case. You have the 007, the 009, the standard black, and then the Pepsi bezel versions, and then the SKX011, the orange dial, and then also the SKX835. A watch that I have seen become a little bit harder to get your hands on of late, but just two other watches that I often don't see considered as much when looking at the Seiko SKX line. And one thing I want to say about the SKX, and it has been kind of troubling me, and I would like to get your guys' thoughts in the comments, and there could be a good conversation around this, is do I think the Seiko SKX should be on this list? Certainly, I think it is a very iconic piece, and it has a lot of modding capabilities, and there's a lot of just reasons to like the watch. However, considering this watch got more votes than all other watches combined in this category when I put up the poll in the Facebook group, and considering how I see some of these watches priced above $300, I wanted to pose a question before we jump off here. Do you think the Seiko SKX has become overrated? I think it gets so much love, and I did want to just ask the question because sometimes I get a little bit fatigued mentioning it, but I think it is a fair question to ask at this point with these prices really rising up, especially when you can consider you're getting into Seiko Samurai and Seiko Turtle range with some of these Seiko SKX lines. I think it's gotten to a price point where Seiko probably didn't even intend for it to get to. But what do you guys think? I'd love to see comments. All right, guys, so those are some of my choices today. If you want to give feedback for part 2 of this series, then definitely leave comments down below. I think I want to keep it between like 500 and 1,000. I think there's so many good watches from Japan in that range, but I want to keep going up in price points with each country, very similar to what we did for Switzerland and Germany. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you're new here. And if you do want to join that watch giveaway, fill out the watch giveaway form, then follow me on Instagram, both in the description. And also, don't be a watch enthusiast that does not consider watch straps as a vital part of your watch collecting journey. On my website, I have some of the best watch straps in the industry for the price point. If you make any purchase as well, it also supports the channel and the content that you're watching. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.